Fantastic. So let's get started. We have an amazing time. We'll have an amazing time today. Okay. So over the next 1.5 hours, I'll walk you through the role of a business analyst and why the business analyst today is one of the hottest in-demand career path that you can choose to transition into. So first of all, who is a business analyst? People always have this confusion understanding what the business analyst does. And I'll be breaking that down today in our session. Okay, I'll share my slides and I'll drive the session using the slides today. We'll have an amazing time, like I said. But just before we get started, I'd like to know where you are joining us from. Just type it into the chat. You are joining us from Lagos, Nigeria, from Accra, Ghana, from London in the UK, Glasgow, Paris. Type into the chat where you are joining us from. Okay, I can't see your name 896, but you are joining us from the UK. Good to have you join us today. So just type into the chat. I'd like to see more people type in. And then Cynthia. Okay, Cynthia, good to have you on the call. Cynthia is with us today. Okay. All right. Thanks, Ubong. Thanks for that. Techno also from the UK. Fantastic. Now let's jump in. Okay, let's jump into the session we have. First of all, introducing who Analytics is for the benefit of those who would be joining us for the first time. Who is Analytics and what do we do? What are we all about? Analytics is an educational technology company helping Africans and people of the Black community to get into tech. Both Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora, helping you transition into the tech ecosystem. And the way we do this is by providing you with the best premium training available to get your skills in order to apply to get those jobs and compete for some of the best jobs available across different regions across the globe. And we provide these trainings in different areas, from business analysis to data analytics, HR analytics, cybersecurity, and so on and so forth. Today, we are here because of the business analysis program. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is on the quality of the facilitators that we bring to bear. The facilitators that will put you through, that will train you on the skills you'll be learning as a business analyst or any other program that you decide to join with us. And I'll do a brief introduction about myself. I'm Adeza Suleiman. I'm a data analytics expert with close to a decade years of experience working across the energy sector, automobile, financial services. I've worked in sports and so many other sectors. And I've worked as a data science consultant in the US, in the UK, and I've also worked as a data analytics consultant with the FITC. And FITC is a financial professional services company owned by the CBN and the Bankers Committee. Personally, I've trained well over 8,500 people across the span of my career, and I'll be sharing some of the insights on what you need to do if you also want to make the transition. Okay, my first degree was in industrial chemistry, so I have no tech background, no tech degree, but I've been in tech for the major parts of my career, and I'll show you what you can also do, irrespective of where you are. In Nigeria, you're in the UK, you're in Canada, you're in the US, you'd see how to make that switch. And I'd like to keep the conversation engaging. So please feel free to ask questions as soon as the questions occur to you. We'll first of all understand the business analyst role. Okay, we'll understand the business analyst role, and then I'll talk to you and show you how you can also get into business analysis, the skills you need to learn, the path you need to follow if you want to make the transition, and how do you apply to get jobs, and also share some success stories, because it's always good to see that people have gone ahead of you and they've done the things you are trying to do. So you can rest assured that you're on the right path, and you're on the right path to a great, fantastic career. So the first question you want to ask is, why choose a career in business analysis? Is there a demand for business analysts? And I'll tell you without mincing my words, business analysis is one of the most in-demand career path you can ever get into. And a lot of you don't know that you're already business analysts, but I'll prove it to you today. Okay, if you're in the UK, in fact, in the UK, the business analyst role is on the shortage occupation list. And for anybody who is in the UK, you'd understand what the shortage occupation list is all about. And these are lists of jobs and job roles that are in demand in the UK. And I'll be sharing that with you as well. Okay, so one of the first things you want to establish is that there is a demand for the role. As a business analyst, you want to get a job, the job is out there available for you. Unfortunately, you have a very, the number of people with the skills to apply to those jobs are very few compared to the demand for the job. So you have vacancies out there, companies want to recruit you. However, people don't have the skills to apply to these roles. And that's why it's important that you need to know that I can learn this skill. This is how I need to start. This is the right path for me to take. And you have a structured learning approach. The problem is people follow the wrong approach. Okay, and I'll be telling you what to do, what people do generally and has made them unsuccessful in landing a job, and what you need to do to get that job. Like I mentioned, in the UK, for example, you have the shortage occupation list, and maybe would go there to see the business analyst role. But I took a screenshot. Are there shortage? Absolutely. There's a shortage for business analysts in the UK. Not the jobs are available, but there is a shortage for the people with the skills to get those jobs. So you have companies, and that's why you have it on the shortage occupation list. Okay, just like the name implies, it means that you have these jobs available, but you don't have enough people to get the jobs, and that's why they're on the shortage occupation. There is a demand, but you don't have enough capacity to fill those roles. And of course, it's logical that when you have jobs available and you have just a few people chasing those jobs, what happens? The salaries would increase because the companies would want to hire the best talent available because there is a dearth in the number of people that can get those jobs. Okay, and let's quickly go to the shortage occupation very, very quickly, and let's see what it looks like. And you can also do a search. All right, just type into your chat, shortage occupation list UK. It's going to bring this up for you. And like I mentioned, it is tied to the skilled worker visa. And I'll give you I'll say a trick, or I'll give you a strategy to adopt when applying to a skilled worker visa or applying for a skilled worker visa, a tier 2 visa. You are a student, maybe doing your master's, but the intention is for you to transition to a tier 2 visa, from a tier 4 student visa to a tier 2 skilled worker visa. How will any shortage occupation help you make that transition? I'll talk about that as well. But look at the shortage occupations, all right, and the career path involved. And the code you want to go to is 2135. So I'm just going to scroll all the way down to 2135. And this is the IT business analyst role. All right. So the IT business analyst role is one of the roles currently on the shortage occupations, meaning that you don't have enough people to fill those roles. So the UK is trying to get more people who are business analysts. They have the skills, bring them into the UK so they can get jobs within the IT business analysis space. And that's what the skilled worker visa does for you. So automatically, when applying for the skilled worker visa, what happens? It is a point-based system of 70 points. You need to score 70 points in order to get your tier 2 visa. All right, you need to score 70 points. Applying to a job or getting an offer of a business analyst role, or getting an offer from any company for any of the roles on the shortage occupation. If you get an offer for any role on the shortage occupation, you get automatic 20 points for free. Automatic 20 points. And that's the advantage of applying to, sorry about that. That's the advantage of applying to a job that is on the shortage occupation. So you get automatic 20 points. So the other 50 points, very, very easy for you to get. Okay. And when I say very easy, I mean very easy. So all you need to do is, I don't want to, take too much time on that. So if you want to understand how to get the Tier 2 skilled worker visa through any role like the business analyst role, the data analytics role, and so on and so forth, just go on YouTube, search, go to Analytics and search for one of the videos we've done. Search for transitioning from a Tier 4 student visa to a Tier 2 skilled worker visa, all right? And you'll see the videos we've done on that. A session like this, a practical masterclass, where to apply to the jobs, the list of companies that can give you sponsorship, and so on and so forth, okay? So you establish, first of all, that the jobs you are applying to is in demand, and I can get into this career path. And the same thing for Canada. In Canada, you also have the business analyst role as one of the hottest roles. In fact, so many of our participants easily get jobs in Canada because of the demand for business analysts in Canada. So you ask the question, why are business analysts so high in demand across the globe? That's the question anybody would ask. And the answer is very simple. Organizations want to be efficient. Organizations want to increase revenue and they want to reduce costs. And as long as you're a business where you have processes, you want to increase revenue, you want to reduce losses, you must employ business analysts because processes, increasing revenue, reducing losses are their bread and butter. And I'll tell you how when I explain the role of the business analyst. So looking at Canada as well, you have the jobs that would enable you apply for a skilled worker or go through the federal skilled worker visa routes when applying for PR in Canada, okay? And of course, the business analyst falls into this code, 21221. 21221 is also one of the roles that would get you a job in Canada, all right? And I'll share stories of people who have made the transition. They've joined the program, they've completed, and they have gotten jobs. The UK is a no-brainer, okay? And I would say that looking at the number of people or participants that come to us at Analytics, most of them, majority of them, over 80% of them are from the UK. And you'd see the numbers in terms of people that have transitioned and have been able to get jobs in the UK after completing their program, okay? So, of course, in the US as well, you have the demand. And the reason why you have the demand in Canada is due to the country's growing economy and also the spring of new companies within different regions. And looking at all the regions in Canada, the areas or the province that will get you a job very fast, remotely, you can be in a different province, apply, is Calgary. Okay, so most of the jobs for business analysts are in Calgary, which is in Alberta. You have Edmonton, which is also in Alberta. Okay, and then you have Toronto. Okay, and I think you have Ontario. All right, so I mean, I'll share the story of Abigail, who lived in Saskatchewan. She worked as a care worker in Saskatchewan. She got into our program, completed our program, and today she's moving from Saskatchewan to Edmonton as a business analyst. And this is somebody who has never done business analysis before. So there's an increase and there's a spring of the modern business analysts, both in the UK, in Canada, and also in the US. In fact, in the US, the job demand for business analysts would grow by 11% between now and 2031. And this is faster than the average for all other job roles. And this is from the US Department of Labor and Statistics. So looking at the demand, that's one of the first things you need to establish. If I'm going to transition into a new career path, Is there a demand for that particular job role? Am I likely going to get a job? Or would I have to wait for so long before I'm able to land a job? Okay, so these are the questions you need to ask yourself. So looking at the three major economies, the UK, the US, and Canada, the business analyst role is super, super high in demand. And the reason is very simple. I told you already. If you have a company that has processes, wants to increase revenue, reduce losses, then they hire business analysts, because this is what the business analyst will do. And we're going to get into that eventually. Now, I'm going to ask you a very good question, okay? And I would like you to drop your answers in the chat. Looking at the business analyst role, have you ever helped a company to increase revenue? And just type in a yes or a no. If you have, if you haven't, you can type in a no. Have you ever helped a company increase revenue, reduce losses, increase number of customers, manage a project, or launch a new product? Have you ever done this? Have you ever done this? Have you helped a company increase revenue, reduce losses, increase the number of customers, launch a new product, manage a project? Just type in a yes or no. Beautiful. Yes, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 no, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no. If you have ever done this, congratulations, you are a business analyst. If you have ever worked for any company, it doesn't have to be a structured environment. It doesn't have to be a structured company. It could be your own personal business. If you have ever helped a company, your own business, any other person's business, increase revenue, reduce losses, increase number of customers, manage a project, launch a product, you are a business analyst. Okay, you are a business analyst. If you've ever done any of these things, and we're going to see how this makes you a business analyst. And why is this also very important? It's very important because a lot of people get scared that I don't think I have 15 years of experience working as a customer service representative. Okay, I've done customer service. And because I've done customer service for the last 10 years, I want to get a job as a business analyst. Will my 15 years of experience as a customer service professional go to waste? When you look at customer service is tailored towards the customer, right? If you solve a customer's problem for them, if they have a challenge, you likely would have created something we call a loyal customer. And that customer would go back, word of mouth, to get you referrals and new customers coming into the business. So as simple as a customer service executive or a customer service representative, you are increasing the number of customers by offering exceptional service to that customer. To one customer who would go back with referrals, word of mouth, and get new customers for you. You are a business analyst. If you have done something, you've done your job in the office, your job is to, you're a cashier in the bank, and your job is to ensure that you don't have mismatch in terms of what a customer deposits and what is deducted from the customer's account. So you count all the notes, ensure that the currencies, the notes are complete. You are doing what? You are helping the company increase its revenue and ensuring that the processes are done accurately. You are a business analyst. So you are able to convert your previous years of experience. And I'll tell you the story of a baker. Remind me before we wrap up today. A baker who had never worked before in any structured environment. She owned her own bakery where she baked bread, she baked pastries. And then she came into our program, joined the business analysis program. And today she works as a business analyst in the UK. All right. And what did she do? All she needed to do and what we helped her do was tailor her previous years of experience as the owner of a bakery As the owner of a bakery, you have interacted with customers, you have stakeholders, you have vendors, you have suppliers. You're going to ask questions from the customer to understand what they want. Okay, and that is elicitation. You are managing stakeholders, you are interacting with vendors, your suppliers. That is stakeholder analysis and stakeholder engagement. So without knowing, you've done business analysis related activities. So your previous years of experience, and what we did was we took all of that, converted it into a job, saying that this lady works with this company as a business analyst, and she used that CV to apply to jobs, and she got a job as a business analyst in the UK when she migrated with her husband, who was doing his master's in the UK. Okay, so a business analyst. Who is a business analyst? We talked about processes, increasing revenue, reducing losses. But who really is a business analyst? Okay, number one, a business analyst is a change maker. You are a change agent. You enable change. You enable change happen within a business. Never forget that. A business analyst is a change agent. All right? You form the bridge, the middleman between the business and the technology team. And I would explain all of this. Okay? You form the middleman. You are the middleman between the business and the technology team. Okay? So a business would need somebody who understands the business. In order for the business to perform exceptionally, things need to be efficient within the business. All right? Now, imagine you have a process that is not very efficient. So it takes you about 5 days for you to execute a particular process. The business analyst's job is to find out how we can reduce that process from 5 days into 1 day or a few hours. That's the role of the business analyst. And how would the business analyst do that? The business analyst would stand somewhere here in between the business, understand the business processes, understand what is what is causing the process to take 5 days. Where are the inefficiencies? How can I identify the problems in this process? So the business analyst would understand all of that, the processes, all right? Look for the inefficiencies within the process and come up with strategies to make the process faster. Most of the time, what makes processes faster? You need to deploy software or applications. Okay, you need to deploy a solution. The solution could be a software. It could be an application. So maybe you do something manually. But rather than doing it manually, you are going to deploy a solution where the process is automated. And that's where the business analysts now have to interact with the technology team, because the business analyst would not build that software or build the solution or buy the software or the solution. The business analyst would interact with the business, understand the needs of the business. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everybody. The business analyst would interact with the business, understand the needs of the business, collect and create a document that shows all the requirements that would make that process efficient, and pass that over to the technology team to either build that software, build the solution, or buy the solution off the shelf. That's the role of the business analyst. And if the technology team would have to build the software, the business analyst would manage that project. Okay, but that is just one role of the business analyst in summary. And we're going to look at a fully fledged scenario and see how the business analyst would come into that scenario, solve the problem, and you understand the entire role of the business analyst. I mentioned already that the business analyst is a change agent. You enable change happen within a business. A particular solution was not available before, so everybody was doing things manually. But now we've implemented a solution to make things faster. That's the role of the business analyst. And those change that happen within the business are positive changes that will make the business achieve its objective. All right. The business analyst, in order to make all these changes happen, in order to streamline and optimize processes, the business analyst must have very good understanding of the business objectives. Where does the business want to go to? Where is the company's growth strategy? And how do we get to that particular goal? The business analyst should have solid understanding of the business. So you are involved in so many things. When the budget is being developed, you work with the team to develop the budget. So you understand where the company is headed and what is required to get the company to that particular destination. And lastly, you work across various industries. It doesn't matter. You could work in technology, you could work in the healthcare sector, you could work in education, and so many other different sectors, simply because you have the capability to optimize and streamline processes. So we're going to look at a case study. Okay, we're going to look at a case study very quickly, and it's just a case study we'll work on together. And I would like you to be involved as we solve this problem together. And it's looking at the role of the business analyst. Just give me 1 second. The role of the business analyst and how the business analyst can, let's use this blank page, and how the business analyst can solve a problem within a company. Now, imagine that you work in a hospital. So we're looking at a case study working in a hospital. And in this hospital, you have the hospital, you have the emergency department. Now, there's always delays between when the patient gets into the hospital and the patient receives treatment. There is always a delay. So that's a problem for the business. The hospital wants to know that we need to implement solutions to make the patient flow a lot faster. Patients who are in the emergency department or in the emergency room should not have to stay so long. So how does the business analyst come into this particular situation? Number one, the business analyst would have to analyze the current process. Okay, analyze the current process of the patient flow. So when the patient comes into the hospital, where is the first place the patient would go? Where is the second place? How does the patient flow from the entrance all the way to when they receive treatment and they're out of the hospital? So the business analyst would take that process and do something we call process mapping to have an understanding of the current process, or as is process, okay? The current process. So when the business analyst does the current process, maps out the current process, they understand where the problems are. And where are the problems? They found out that problem number one is from the lab. So when a patient is sent to the laboratory and a test is done, the results are out, there is a gap in communicating the results from the laboratory back into the emergency department. Problem number two, after analyzing and mapping out the current process, where you have the radiography department as well, okay, so where you go do your x-ray and so on. So when a patient goes to do the x-ray and the results are out, there is also a gap in communication from the x-ray back into the emergency department. So these are the two key problems in the hospital. And the business analyst is meant to solve this particular issue. So what would the business analyst do? The business analyst would do something we call stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder engagement. And what is that? That's simply just a fancy word for saying, let's get people together and let's have a session to discuss all of these issues. So the business analyst would meet with the radiography department, the lab, the laboratory, also get to meet with maybe the doctors and the ED staff, the emergency department staff, get to meet with them to ask them questions and find out, since we have problems with the laboratory and the radiography department, when they have their results ready, there is a gap communicating those results back to the emergency department. What can we do? We need to implement a system or a solution that would enable that ease of communication. All right? And let's call that system a patient tracking application. That's the software they need to deploy, a patient tracking application. So when the patient comes in, a number is assigned to the patient, and that number is entered into the system. So when the radiography department gets the number and the results are out, they just enter the results into the system and it is communicated to the other departments. So it's a lot faster. And that's the solution that is needed to get that problem solved. But the business analyst would first of all meet with the stakeholders so that when the solution is deployed, it meets the requirements from all the other departments. There is no stakeholder that is left out. So the laboratory, the radiography, the doctors, the emergency department staff, and any other stakeholder, and of course, the IT department. IT. Now, once they are done with their meeting, the business analyst would come up with something called lists of requirements. Okay, so there's a list of requirements. So requirements, all right? The doctors might say that we need this particular feature to be available on that patient tracking application. The laboratory staff could say that we need a way for us to communicate pictures and not just type in our results. We should be able to communicate pictures, upload videos if necessary. All these feedback would be gathered into something called list of requirements. Okay, once the business analyst has this list of requirements, the business analyst would then carry out something we call feasibility study, feasibility, and risk analysis. And why would the business analyst do this? The business analyst needs to know how much will this cost us? What's the budget we're going to deploy if we need to build this solution? Or if the solution is not available, how much would it cost us to buy it off the shelf? Okay, so what's the budget? What are the risks available in deploying this? Do we have the money to deploy, first of all? Do we have the IT infrastructure to also deploy this infrastructure? Okay, so these are the things the business analyst would do. So you can see the steps. First of all, analyze the process. Where are the problems? You've identified the problems, the departments where the problems exist. Second step, engage the stakeholders. We need a patient monitoring or a patient tracking application. What would you need? Or what do you think needs to be done? Or what features must we have on this particular application to get it right? You come up with your list of requirements, and then you do something we call the feasibility and risk analysis. Do we have the money? Do we have the IT infrastructure? Do we have this? Do we have that? So let's assume it's positive. We have the money. The money is available. We have the infrastructure. Oh, sorry about that. Or if the infrastructure is not available, we can build our own infrastructure. If that's the case, the next thing the business analyst would have to do is create a business case. And what's a business case? A business case is simply a proposal. All right? You create a business case. So a business case is saying that, hey, this is the problem we have today. Okay? And these are the benefits of us implementing this particular solution. So you list out the benefits. You've done your cost-benefit analysis. So what are we going to get? What is the return on investment from this particular solution? The business analyst would have to make a case for implementing this patient tracking application. Very, very important. And a business case can simply just be a PowerPoint document. So when you see all these fancy words, technical words, they could sound very technical, but they're actually very simple things. Come up with a document, you've done your analysis, your cost benefits, you've seen that these are the benefits if we implement this particular solution. Now, after having your business case, it's time to think of implementing, right? You then create something we call the specification document, okay? The specification document or BRD. What's the BRD? The BRD is the business requirement document. So you see all this list of requirements that you had initially. You create specifications out of them. These are the features. These are the functional requirements, the non-functional requirements, the user stories. The user stories are simply those features highlighted by the people that would use this particular tool and this particular application. All right. So you have your user stories. You have functional requirements, what the application would do, and so on and so forth. You come up with all of that documented, because remember, this is a solution you're going to deploy, and it is a project. It will turn out to be a project eventually. You want to document all the processes so that you come up with a solution that is fit for purpose. So the list of requirements is converted into a business requirement document or a specification document. And then the business analyst will then do what? Implement, manage the project. Okay, manage the project. So you see this business requirement document, it will be sent to the technology team. Okay, so the technology team, the IT department, of course, they'll be involved in the entire process. But the business requirement document would then be sent to them, and they would look at it and say, okay, these are the things we need to build. These are the different features that we need in this application. We're going to build this application based on the BRD you have provided to us. So you would be the project manager on this particular project, managing the process and ensuring that every requirement listed by the users, the different features also indicated, are captured and delivered when building this application. Okay, so you manage the project, all right, selecting the vendors if you have to bring in vendors, okay, and of course, end-to-end project management, end-to-end. Once this is done, of course, you built the application is ready. What happens? You have to what? Test and monitor. And this is where the business analyst will be involved in the testing, getting different people, different testers, the user acceptance testing, and so on. So you have your UAT where the users will test this application to see if it meets their requirements or meets the demand, meets what had been listed at the beginning when the whole project started from initiation. Okay, so does it meet the requirements? Is this a solution we can deploy? The business analyst will be involved in the testing process, monitoring, and so on and so forth. Now that, let's assume it has been tested. Okay, let's assume it has been tested. Just give me 1 second. My PowerPoint is hanging, but let me just continue while it's okay, waits to respond. While the system has been built and is currently tested, let's assume that everything is good. The solution is good to be deployed. Well, everything just disappeared. Okay, it's back. I just needed to reduce this, okay, to create more space. All right, so you've tested, you've seen that the application is fit for purpose. What's the next thing? This is where you now manage change. Remember, this solution never existed. You looked at the process because of the delays you have in the emergency department, and you found out that the laboratory and the radiography departments were the reasons why you had that delay. And why did they delay the solution, delay the communication? It was due to ineffective communication. So when they have ineffective communication, so whenever they do a test, there is usually a delay communicating that back to the emergency department. So what did you do? You engage stakeholders to find a solution to the problem. Once you had your list of requirements, you had your feasibility, risk analysis, you created a business case to show that there is a need for us to deploy this. These are the benefits, the return on investment. You did what? Built a specification document, a BRD, a business requirement document to show and that documented all the requirements, all the user stories, so that you can build an application that is fit for purpose. You set up a project, manage the project, you got your developers on board, manage the entire project, leveraging techniques like the software development lifecycle and so on and so forth. Okay, you tested, you monitor the process, and it's now time for change. You need to deploy. And this is where you carry out training and workshops. Okay, so training and workshops. So you need to train the users of this application. They need to know how to use it. You don't want to deploy an application and nobody uses it. It's just there. And people are usually, people don't like change. Okay, so you have to ensure that the change happens, and it doesn't just happen, it sticks. And this is where you do your training, you do your workshops, feedbacks, and so on and so forth. And of course, once you have trained, and this is where you do your main work as a change agent. All right, so you've taken the company from manual, communicating manually, to what? Using technology to solve the problem, making the process a lot faster. And of course, once you've trained, you've had your different workshops, people are ready to use the application. Finally, you'd be doing what? Reviewing to ensure that the application as deployed actually meets the requirement. So you're reviewing and getting feedback to implement improvements if necessary. And this is just a typical scenario of a business analyst role. So if you ask the question what a business analyst does in a company, you optimize processes, you enable change happen, you enable a company perform better by implementing solutions. Okay, so this is a hospital scenario, and we've looked at it, seeing what the business analyst would come in to do. And this is the typical experience of a business analyst, irrespective of where you work. You work for a retail company, for an e-commerce company. How do I make this process faster? You've identified the problems, coming up with the initial process, the current process, also referred to as the as-is process. As-is, the way it is today. You've identified the inefficiencies, where the problems are, in order to come up with a future state called the to-be, which is the optimized state. And that's your job as a business analyst. And to move from the as-is, which is the current state, to the to-be, which is the future state, you would need to implement certain things. You would need to manage projects, manage a team, and ensure that all the requirements gathered in the process of your engagement, those requirements are delivered so that your solution is fit for purpose. And that's the role of the business analyst, end to end. So when people ask the question, does a business analyst do the job of a data analyst? The answer is no. They are totally different roles. The data analyst would not carry out all these steps. The data analyst's job is to get data from the company, analyze the data, and help the company take decisions based on the insights and findings from the analysis. That's the job of the data analyst. But the business analyst would look at the processes, identify inefficiencies, come up with solutions that could solve those inefficiencies, and in the process, set up a project that would help to either build that solution or buy the solution, following different steps to getting there. And that's the role of the business analyst. And that's why I told you earlier that if you have ever helped a company to increase their revenue, if you've ever helped them to reduce their costs, if you've ever helped them to get more customers, you've done something to make them more efficient, you are a business analyst. You don't just know that you're a business analyst, but you are a business analyst. Okay, so I'm going to ask the question again one more time. From all what we've discussed so far, do you think you are a business analyst? Have you done something that would, classify you or categorize you as a business analyst? Just type in a yes or no. Quadrisi says no. Cynthia says yes. Absolutely. Cynthia said no before, but now she said yes. Yes, yes, yes. One way or the other, most of us have done one business analysis role here and there. Benjamin, thank you for joining us again. I recognize Benjamin joining us again for another session. You were with us yesterday. Okay, fantastic. So now that we've talked about certain things that the business analyst will do, and this is why the business analyst is very, very important to any company and why they are always hired. Why companies are always on the lookout for business analysts, because you make the job better, you make the job faster. You are that person that would look at a process and ask the question, why does this take 5 days? Why does it take 5 days for us to complete this particular process? Meet with the different stakeholders, understand where the loopholes could be or where the gap could be that is taking 5 days to complete. Address those gaps and turn it from 5 days to 3 hours. And that's the role of the business analyst. So how do you become a business analyst? What are the skills you need to learn, to understand? And when we look at these skills, we'll go look for some jobs that would have certain requirements. So go to a real live business analysis role, check for the role, look at the job requirements and see if I learn these skills, can I apply to this job? All right, so we're going to look at that shortly. But first of all, what do you need to transition into a business analyst role? We've talked about the fact that you are that middleman in between the business and the technology team, okay? The business analyst also commands fantastic salaries across board. Looking at the 3 major economies in the UK, £52,500 per annum. In Canada, 74,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, 85,000 US dollars on the average as a business analyst. But what do you need to learn? First of all, you need to learn Excel, Power BI, and SQL. And whenever I tell people that you need to learn this as a business analyst, they always have this very funny look on their face. As a business analyst, what do I need this for? Because these are data analytic tools. All right? So Excel, Power BI, SQL are data analytics tools. But why is it important for you to have this? It is absolutely important. If you don't learn anything today, take it from me that you heard from Adeza Suleiman that if I need to transition into a business analyst role, I should understand Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Extremely important. 3-4 years ago, this was not necessary. But today, the modern business analyst must have a flavor of data analytics. That gives you an edge. And I'll tell you about somebody who is currently on my slide. I'll tell you about him, how he was able to get a job. When he came to us, I looked at his CV. We saw the gaps, where the gaps were, where he had gaps. We addressed those gaps. And today he works in the energy sector as a business data analyst. And I'll tell you, the majority of what we had to change for him simply involved adding this to his CV. I'll tell you about that story in about 2 to 3 slides down the line. So this is the very first thing you need to learn, data analytics. You need to know how to handle Excel, handle data in Excel, summarize data, create pivot charts, pivot tables, create a dashboard, and so on and so forth. Absolutely important. Same with Power BI. You need to know how to use Power BI to build your visuals, create different data visualizations, build models, and automate the process of you creating that. And you need to understand SQL. What is SQL? Structured query language. Structured query language. And what is structured query language? This is the language you use to interact with databases. Companies always have their data in a database. They don't have their data on Excel files or CSV files. They have their data in a database. So how do you interact with databases? And most of the time, especially for those of you who would like to transition into the tech industry, you want to know how to use SQL. Absolutely important. Once you've done this, which is the first part of being a business analyst, you then move to process mapping. So I talked about the fact that that business analyst working in that hospital, what did she do? She mapped out the process. So how does a patient move across the hospital from the beginning till when they are exited from the hospital? And she was able to find out that the problem was in the laboratory and the radiography departments. And that is what process mapping helps you do. So you create a process map to show the end to end, the beginning of the process and the end of the process. Absolutely important. And you do that using tools like Lucid Charts, tools like Microsoft Visio, tools like Draw.io, and so on and so forth. These are the tools that would help you map out processes. And then you move to project initiation. And this is where the business analyst is also a project manager, because you would manage projects as a business analyst. So you would initiate projects. So you need to know how to initiate projects. Who are the stakeholders that will be on this project? What tools can I use to manage and track project deliverables? You use tools like Jira, tools like Trello to track project deliverables. You would learn project management methodologies, Agile and Scrum. Of course, Agile is the project management methodology for anybody going into tech. You must understand Agile. Waterfall is old school. Waterfall is the traditional. Agile is what you want to do. And what is Agile? Agile simply means we are going to build this solution, and at the same time, while we are building, we are also testing with our customers. We are getting customer feedback. We don't need to build the entire solution. I'm going to build a part of the solution that are important, the most important parts, deploy it into the market, get users to make use of that application, get their feedback, and use that feedback to make it better. Okay, and that is Agile. You'd learn how to Agile methodologies, how to carry out sprints, your sprint planning, your sprint review, retrospective, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then you'd move to software development lifecycle. Because you'd manage the building of applications, you'd manage the development of software, you need to understand the software development lifecycle. How do you plan a software? How do you design the software? How do you build, test, implement, and so on and so forth, maintain? You understand the software development lifecycle as a business analyst. Requirement fundamentals. I talked about that business analyst after looking at the process, the different processes, understanding that the problem is in lab and radiography. But I don't know what needs to be added to this particular solution. I know we need a solution. Okay, let me get the different stakeholders together and let's get their requirements. Let's understand what they need for this particular solution. And that is requirement gathering. For you to gather requirements, of course, you'd also do something we call elicitation. So you organize meetings, you organize workshops, you organize focus groups, you deploy surveys to gather your requirements, and so on and so forth. All right. Elicitation, asking the right type of questions to ensure that you are able to get all the requirements to build the solution that would solve the problem you need to solve. Stakeholder analysis and engagement. What's the mode of communication to the different stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders involved? Do I hold my meeting using Microsoft Teams? Do I send communication to my stakeholders using email or text message or WhatsApp? You analyze your stakeholders, know how to engage, because you'd be in the front of so many people when you're managing projects, understanding the business, understanding the requirements. You'd have to do that. Lastly, you'd understand how to use ChatGPT for business analysis. And I can't overemphasize the importance of tools like ChatGPT in our world today. All right, as a business analyst, you can't run away from it. You would have an edge over other people who don't have the same skill. And that's why ChatGPT gets things done for you very fast. Okay, you see the problem we solved today, looking at the emergency department in the hospital. You can create a scenario and put it on ChatGPT and say that there is a process in the hospital where I have noticed that the laboratory and the radiography department have issues. Can you provide suggestions on what I can do as a business analyst? I can bet you ChatGPT will give you results. You'd also learn how to use ChatGPT to optimize your Excel, ChatGPT to optimize Power BI, and also optimize SQL for analytics. And these are the skills you need to succeed as a business analyst anywhere across the globe. Anywhere across the globe. Who has a higher salary between a data analyst or a business analyst? On the average, the business analyst earns more, but there are other variables that could come into play. Okay, so the industry matters. The industry matters, years of experience matters, and so on and so forth. All right, so you have different things that would play when it comes to salary. The worshipper is asking, from your explanation as a business analyst, one has encompassing knowledge in fields. You don't need encompassing knowledge. Okay, I think I understand what you mean, the worshipper. And yes, absolutely. And that's why I tell people that as a business analyst, you are operating on three different phases. Three phases. Okay, number one is you have data analytics skills. That's number one. Number two, you have project management skills. And number three, you have your core business analyst skills. Okay, so you're operating on three fronts. But make no mistake, as a business analyst, you are not likely going to have the depth of knowledge that the data analyst would have. Okay, but you would know how to use Excel, Power BI, and SQL to carry out your data analytics. You'd understand project management, Agile, and Scrum. Okay, of course, Agile methodology is part of Scrum. The Scrum Master leverages Agile to deliver projects. So you'd learn the Scrum ceremonies, the Scrum events, understanding the Agile approach for delivering projects. Okay, so the worshipper, you're absolutely correct. It is all encompassing. Can a data analyst? No, you can't. A data analyst cannot be employed as a business analyst. No. Okay. So I'll touch on a couple of things. All right. Let's keep the questions. I'll take the questions so that we don't lose track. I'll take the questions when we get to the Q&A. So keep the questions coming. All right. How long does it take you to learn these skills and transition? 4 months. 2 months project-based classes. And what? 2 months working on a real life project. And I'll tell you how important the real life project is. Now, remember, and the project is a web application. You're going to work on delivering a web application to solve a problem in a company. So when you get into an interview and they ask you, what have you done as a business analyst? Tell me about a time you have delivered a project that helps to solve a problem, or tell me about a time you optimize the process within a company. You need to be able to talk based on the perspective of knowledge that you've done it before. Not just that you read it somewhere, or you watched a video, or you read it in your your books and all of that. No, you need to show that you have done it before. And that is why the internship becomes absolutely important, where for 2 months, you would gather requirements, meet with stakeholders, meet with the developer. You'd also work together with the Scrum Master. You'd work with a software developer, and you would build a solution, a real solution, a web application to solve a problem for a company. And this is how you learn to become a business analyst. And some of the projects you work on, you're going to work on a case, you're developing a business case for a company within the FMCG, packaging, and so on. You'd also work on requirements engineering, a case study on requirements engineering. So your classes are project-based classes. You'd work on optimizing inventory management process in a company, process mapping using Jira, I beg your pardon, using Draw.io, using Lucid Charts, and so on and so forth. You'd understand the software development lifecycle by also working on a project to develop a mobile health application. So all these projects would form part of your experience that you would have on your CV. And these are some of the things that if you don't do, you're not going to get a job, or you would struggle to get a job. Of course, you'd also work on customer behavior and marketing analysis. This is an Excel case study you're going to work on. You'd work on a Power BI case study on electric vehicle adoption, British Airways passenger review. You'd work on the data set using Power BI, and so many other projects we are going to work on, Nestle product analytics, and so on and so forth. What is the learning timeline? What is your business analysis roadmap? How are you going to learn? I talked about it already, 2 months. Once you're done with your 2 months learning journey in class, project-based live classes, you then have a capstone project. So the capstone project is simply a project for you to assess all the skills you've learned in class. How good am I? Okay, my Excel skills. If I'm going to work on a project where I need to deploy Excel and Power BI together, or I need to deploy SQL and Power BI, how good am I with these skills? You'll work on that on a capstone project, and then you'd move into the internship for 2 months. So for 2 months, you'll be working on building a web application to solve a problem for a company. So just like that patient tracking system that was needed to be deployed in the hospital to make the communication between the emergency department and the laboratory and radiography department seamless. You'd also work on a project to build a web application for a company, and that would be on your CV. So when you apply to a job and you're called for an interview, you have a portfolio, you have something to show as work that you have done before. All right. And how do you learn your classes? When would you have classes? When does the class hold? When do classes hold during the weekend? All classes are weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. On Saturday, depending on your region. Okay. So if you are in the UK, for example, you are in Africa, you are in Nigeria, you are somewhere in Europe with similar time zone, you have your Saturday class 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right. But if you are in the US, you are in Canada, you are in a region where your timing is totally different, you have another class still on that Saturday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. Okay. And that is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Alberta Mountain Time. And this is to accommodate the Canadian audience, the US audience, because you can't tell somebody who is in Canada to join a class at 11 a.m. That's around 3 a.m. in Edmonton, for example. Okay, it's not logical. So we have 2 classes. On Saturday, depending on your region, if you are in the UK, you are in Europe, somewhere in Africa, in Nigeria, your class is from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., 3 hours on a Saturday. And on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. All right. And if you're in the US, you are in Canada, that would be 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., which would be 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Alberta Mountain Time. Okay, so you have a flexible way of learning. You have classes on Saturdays, you have classes on Sundays, 3 hours on Saturdays, 3 hours on Sunday. where you have a facilitator, a trainer that will work with you to help you solve problems, work on projects, and build your skills as a business analyst. Do we understand the timing before I move away from the slide? Do we understand the timing? Can I attend 2 classes on Saturday? I won't. Yes, you can, but I mean, it's the same thing you do in the morning that you do in the evening. Okay, having the 2 classes is just to satisfy 2 categories of people that we have, some in one particular region, the other one in a different time zone. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Cynthia says she understands. Gabriel says he understands as well. Why is there only 1 class for data analysis? It's a different program entirely. Data analytics and business analysis are different. Okay, so you can't have the same structure for 2 different programs. All right, fantastic. Okay, so let's move on. Now, people would ask the question, I've completed a business analysis training. I have worked on projects. What type of jobs can I apply to? And this is also very important in securing a job, because companies today have become very intelligent, because they also want to get people that would meet their specific need. Okay, and that's where you see roles. You have new roles emerging today, not really new, but becoming very popular. The business data analysts. The business data analyst. And I'll say this is the grid. I call this title, this job role, the grid of the HR professionals. Okay, so this is where HR wants to get, buy one, get one free. Buy a business analyst, also get a data analyst. Okay, but guess what? If you are a business analyst without the knowledge of Excel, Power BI, and SQL, you can never apply to this role. Never. Because the business data analyst is simply a business analyst that has a combination of data analytics skills. And you'd see this prevalence today. You'd see a lot of our participants who have gotten jobs as business data analysts, simply because in our curriculum, we have added Excel, Power BI, and SQL. You'd start with that. You'd cover that aspect before you move into the core areas of the business analysis program. So you have roles like this that exist, the business data analyst. You have the business systems analyst, continuous improvement analyst, change management analyst, the IT business analyst, operations analyst, process analysts. You'd see this come up so many times, and there are so many roles when applying to jobs. And these are some of the things we also show to you. When you're applying, don't just look for the business analyst role. Spread the possibilities and check for the requirements, and that's where you get if you can apply to this job or not. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. I was just checking the charts to see. Let me tell you the reason why people don't get jobs, and I'll show you the people that have actually gotten jobs with us. Some of them, of course, just a fraction of them. One major reason why people struggle to get jobs is we are very used to doing what? Chasing the paper. And the paper in this instance doesn't mean money. We chase certifications. We chase the paper. If I have the certification, I can get a job. That is a big, fat lie. It never happens. It is equivalent to putting the cart before the horse. You're not going anywhere. You're never going to move anywhere with that mentality. All right? Now, what is the right mindset? How do you get a job as a business analyst? The very first thing you want to do is acquire the skills. That's the most important thing. Acquire the skills. Show that you can do the work. Not that I can describe, I can explain or define who a business analyst is. I can define what user stories are. That's not making you a business analyst, because if I put you on that role, you understand the definition of the terms, but can you do the job? Have you done it before? Have you managed a process improvement project? Have you solved a problem for a company developing a solution? Have you used Excel to create a dashboard to manage and analyze data? Have you done that with Power BI? These are the questions, and these are the things recruiters want to see. So don't put the cart before the horse. First of all, focus on what's competence over credential. Competence over credential. I've met so many people, too many of them, business analysts, scrum masters, they have certifications, but they are jobless. And why? You are a business analyst. Can you use Excel? No. Can you use Power BI? No. What can you do? Can I see your CV? Okay, you've listed a couple of responsibilities. You worked in this company, you worked in that company. How do I prove that you can do the job? Where is the evidence? Okay, so you need to focus on what's building your skills. Building a portfolio. Have what? Proof of work. There should be proof that you've done this before. There should be proof from your experience. When you're telling me about what you've done, don't say things that are abstract. Don't say things that I have to think of and imagine. Tell me things you've actually built. Tell me projects you have managed, problems you have solved in a company as a business analyst. That's what recruiters want to see. Especially recruiters in Canada, recruiters in the UK, most especially in the UK. Nobody cares where you learned. Nobody cares what you've learned. Did you learn in Ibadan, Nigeria? Did you learn in Manchester, in the UK? Did you learn in Michigan, in the US? Can you do the job? Tell me what you've done before. So competence over credential. Put the horse before the cart, not the cart before the horse. Secondly is the job application process. A lot of people trivialize job application, and they apply to just 3 jobs or 5 jobs in a week and think you're going to get a job. You are a joker. You're not going to get that job. All right? And there was somebody who came to us, and he said he had been out of work for a very long time. He needed to get back into the workforce. And he's been applying to jobs, but no results. And there's a, what do I do? I have applied, I've applied. I said, okay, let me see your CV. There were so many things wrong with the CV. Send your LinkedIn profile. I don't have a LinkedIn profile. All right. How many jobs do you apply to? I applied to 10 jobs in a day, or you apply to 10 jobs in a day? He said, no, in a week. I said, that's the reason why you haven't been getting a job. You're applying to 10 jobs in a week and you expect to get a job. You would not get that job. So quantity, don't just focus on quantity, all right, of volume, but rather focus on quality volume. So you are putting out a lot of job applications. You are sending out your CVs. You are applying to jobs, but ensure that it is also quality applications. And how do you do that? You must always tailor your experience. If you've worked in customer service, on your CV, you're not going to say you're a customer service representative. No. You've worked as a teacher. You won't go to say, I was a teacher for the last 10 years. I learned business analysis in the last 3 or 4 months, and I want to get a job as a business analyst. Nobody would hire you. You have to do what? Tailor your CV for every job application. You have to look at your previous experience and add the business analysis flavor into your previous experience. Okay, and these are the things we do for you during your CV review sessions. Job matching as well. So you see the job, you look at your CV. Do I have the skills and the requirements to apply to this job? If I don't, how can I work on my CV so that it increases the match, the percentage match to that job I want to apply to? So it's more of quality rather than volume. You could use one CV and apply to 1,000 jobs. You will not get one interview. But I'll use 20 CVs to apply to 20 jobs and I'll get 7 interviews. Why? Because of the quality of my own application. So we always emphasize that, and we show you how to do it practically. You have sessions on your CVs, CV review sessions, how to tailor your experience. You leverage tools like ChatGPT, Jobalytics, JobScan, and so many other tools that would help you do your job match, show you the areas where you have gaps, how to address those gaps, and so on and so forth. And lastly, why people struggle to get jobs. You don't have the ability to sell yourself. No interviewing skills. Simple questions you can't answer. Tell me about a time you optimized a project or optimized the process. You worked on a project that involves process optimization. You start to stutter. You start to look for what you did because you actually haven't done it. You must know how to sell yourself. You must know how to use different techniques to selling yourself. The SEAT approach, the STAR approach. The SEAT approach is for introducing yourself. The STAR approach is for competency-based questions. So you need to know all of this in order to sell yourself appropriately. If you don't have the skill to sell yourself, you're not going anywhere. The best candidate does not get the job. The candidate that can sell him or herself gets the job. I always say this all the time. You don't have to be the best to get the job. No, you don't have to be a genius to get the job. You don't have to be the most intelligent person in the room to get the job. But you should know how to sell yourself with confidence. You will get that job. And this is where the interview preparation sessions becomes very useful for you. We work with you, we show you how to introduce yourself using techniques like the SEAT approach, talking about your skills, your experience, your achievements, and your traits or type of person. So you start with your skills, you go to your experience, your achievements, and this is where recruiters would open their ears to hear what you've done. The hiring managers want to hear, what have you achieved? Oh, in my previous employment, when I got into the company, there was no database. So reporting took 2 days. What I did was to come up with a database where we warehoused all our data, and this optimized our reporting, reducing the time from 2 days to 1 hour. That's something you've done. It's an achievement. They would ask you more questions about that. So you preempt the recruiters and trigger them to ask you the type of questions you want to be asked. And it's a skill you need to know how to deploy during interviews. And we work with you to help you do that. So how have we helped people to get jobs? And I'll share some quick success stories with you. People that we've deployed the same strategies with, and they have been able to get jobs. All right? And I'll tell you their story. I'm very, very familiar with their story. I'll start with Mojisola. Mojisola joined us sometime last year, and Mojisola completed her training. And she reached out to me one day and said, hey, Adeza, she reached out to me and said, Adeza, I've been applying, but I'm not getting jobs. What do I do? And I said, Mojisola, it's not a problem at all. Let's have a quick 30-minute session. We jumped on a Zoom call. Mojisola, can you share your CV with me? She shared her CV. How many jobs are you applying to? She told me, I'm applying to 20 jobs per day, which is our recommended volume, 20 per day. I said, okay, if you're applying to 20 jobs per day and you're not getting results, it means there is something you're not doing right. Can I see your CV? Looked at the CV, gave her feedback, she implemented it, and she got a job. And this is Mojisola sending me a message on the 1st of December, 2023. Hello, Adeza. Good evening. I finally got an offer from the job and I start next week. I want to say a big thank you for everything. I sincerely appreciate your help. God bless you immensely. And I was super excited for Mojisola, most especially because of our referencing. She needed a reference from us. And I wrote a very compelling reference for her. And that was how she was able to get the job. And Mojisola today works as a business analyst in the UK after completing her training with us. And I'll talk about somebody I find very interesting. I've talked about this gentleman's story so many times. And if you've been in my previous session, I've never mentioned his name, but I'm mentioning his name now because the job was very recent and I needed him to settle in before I talked about him by mentioning his name and so on. His name is Michael, but I call him Olamide. Olamide lost his job in February 2023. He was out of work in the UK and he had worked as a business analyst, all right? And this is the guy I said I was going to tell you how Excel, Power BI, and SQL helped him get this job. Okay, so he came to us in July last year, and he said that in fact, the training had already started when he reached out to me to say he wants to join. I said, look, the class has started already. We are not accepting people into class again. He said, I will pay the full amount. I'm not asking for the discounted amount. I'll pay you the full amount. I need to join this training. I said, okay, what's the challenge? What's your problem? So he mentioned, I've been out of work since February, and this is July. I still haven't gotten a job. I need help. So I said, no problem. Send me your CV. Send me your LinkedIn profile, and so on and so forth. I assessed it. I looked at his CV, and I saw that data analytics was totally out of it. He had nothing on Excel, nothing on Power BI, nothing on SQL. And if you're a business analyst in the UK, or you want to get a job as a business analyst, you must have those skills, because it sets you above the competition. All right. So I said, look, this is the reason why I think you have to join. You need to build up your data analytics skills. You've worked as a business analyst, so you know all of those things already. But because of this, you need to join. So he joined. We worked with him. We worked with Olamide, his CV. But one thing I like about Olamide, I'll tell you for a fact, Olamide is a hard worker. Okay, he's a hard worker. If I tell Olamide, I need you to jump today. To get this job, you need to jump. Olamide would ask me, Adeza, how many times you want me to jump? Every single thing I told Olamide to do, he did. And Olamide today works in the energy sector as a business analyst in the UK. Works for U Energy in the UK. And this is Olamide sending me a message, a New Year message. He got the job in November, all right? He sent me a New Year message, compliments of the season, Adeza. Thank you for being a helping hand for me this year. So just imagine, out of work since February, joined us in July, completed his training July, August, September, October. He completed his training. He got the job in November, but not just as a business analyst, as a business data analyst. And this was where the Excel, the Power BI, and the SQL helped him out. Okay, and this is Olamide just, when he got the job newly, and was telling me, hi Adeza, how are you doing? I got a job as a business data analyst on Friday. Thanks for your support this past month. I really appreciate. All right, and this is Olamide's story. And I love to tell Olamide's story because this was a committed professional who was trying to get a job and needed to make just a change. Learn Excel, learn Power BI, learn SQL, and he got a job as a business data analyst. Okay, absolutely phenomenal. Today, this month would make it his third month on that particular job role. And not just Olamide, of course. We also have Abigail. For those that joined our masterclass in December, you would have listened to Abigail. And I have kept the link to Abigail's, let me call it a speech because it's very long. So I'm not going to play it for you guys here. She spoke for about, I think, 4 to 5 minutes. Abigail was a care worker in Saskatchewan, Canada. She joined our program, joined all our mentorship sessions, worked on our project, completed our class, and today, Abigail works as a business analyst in Edmonton. And if you listen to her speak, she was moving at that particular time. She was moving from Saskatchewan to Edmonton to take up that role. And this is somebody who has never worked as a business analyst before. She didn't just get this job. It was a supervisor role. Supervisor, meaning that she would have direct reports for somebody who has never worked in business analysis. And this is Abigail's story. We also have Ramat. Ramat has always been on our slides. For those who have joined our master classes, you would see Ramat. Ramat works with the NHS as a business analyst after joining our program. In fact, you need to listen to Ramat. Okay, Ramat, also in the UK, came into the program. She joined, completed the program, and she was able to land the job. We worked with her during our interview, told her what to do, helped her prepare, and she got a job with full visa sponsorship. With full visa sponsorship. And for those who work, who live in the UK or familiar with the UK environment, you know that the NHS hires all the time. And a whole lot of our participants at Analytics work with the NHS. In fact, one of these days we should organize, a reunion for just the NHS employees who are Analytics alumni. So many of them working with the NHS. And that's Ramat completing. She joined us in April 2023. And by the time she was done with her training, she got a job, I think, a month or 2 months after the training program. And so many of them. You have Tammy. Tammy Vaughn is a lawyer who transitioned into business analysis. All right. We have Biola and so many. We have Rafiat. Let me tell you what a little bit about Rafiat's story. Rafiat got a job with the post office in the UK. How did we find out? So usually when people get jobs, they reach out to us, just like the messages you saw Mojishola and Olamide sending to me. But Rafiat didn't send us a message. She didn't tell us that, Adeza, Efemena, I have gotten a job. All right. So how did we find out? Efemena was hired as a contractor for the post office. The post office was going through a digital transformation. So they needed people who could help them, go through that transformation, help them out with different areas in their data strategy and so on. So Efemena, who is the co-founder of Analytics, managed that particular process for the post office. So Efemena was on a call one day on a Teams meeting. And then somebody just sent him a message from nowhere. Hello, Efemena, how are you doing? And he was surprised that who knows me in this company, all right? And then she sent him a message saying that my name is Rafiat. I was a Analytics participant. I joined your program and your program helped me get this job as a business analyst. So Rafiat became Efemena's colleague in the post office. And that was the beauty of everything. I was super excited, and even Efemena as well, because that's the goal for us at Analytics, bringing in more people that look like me, working in reputable organizations and also carrying out reputable work. I know a lot of people in the UK, most of them, a whole lot would want to do the care work, would want to do work in the warehouse and so on and so forth. However, you can't do that for a very long time, okay? So we want to see more Africans and people of the Black community applying to these jobs, learning the skill and making the transition. And that's Rafiat's story. I'll talk a little bit about Desola as well. Desola also works with the NHS. And this is Desola sending me a message. She sent me her presentation. She had a presentation. One of our associates had worked with her to help her come up with the presentation, all right? She sent it to me and said, oh, hi, Adeza, I have just shared my presentation with you. I looked at it and I told her, Desola, your presentation looks fine, not too wordy. You should be able to present this within the time limit. All the best. Okay, she went for her presentation and she sent me a message. Hi, Adeza, I'm pleased to inform you that I got the job with the NHS. Thank you so much for your efforts. I am very grateful. All right. She needed to speak to me about something related to the role. And we had the conversation. And this is Desola's story as well. So all the things I talked about at the beginning with regards to you focusing on learning the skill, get the skill, understand how to sell yourself, have the right CV, this will get you the job. And these are the stories of so many people. And I can go on and on, on and on and on and on. Okay, I'm just going to play one video for you. And we have people on the call. I have 2 people that want to share their story. They joined us this January. So they are very new into the program. I have Loretta. Loretta is in Ghana. Okay, and I have Cynthia. Cynthia is in the UK. All right, so Loretta and Cynthia are currently in our January cohorts that started on the 6th of January, and they would love to share their experience with you. Okay, but before I bring up Loretta and Cynthia, I want you to listen to, I'm even spoiled for choice, but let's listen to Titi Lokwe. Let's listen to what Titi Lokwe has to say, and then I'll bring in Loretta and Cynthia. Okay, so the slides will be made available to you, so you can also access all the videos, listen to all the amazing transitioning story. So let's listen to Titi Lokwe. So I'm going to share my audio so you can hear them clearly. All right, so let's listen to Titi Lokwe.
My name is Titi Lope. I'm in July Court. I've learned so much from Analytics. Analytics is a place that will give you that 101. Yes, I'm saying in that 101. Is it business analyst? Is it data analyst? Is it Power Hub? You're going to get that value for your money. Analytics is not a place you will want to be. You will always want to be. You will definitely want to be, and you will learn so much in a short time. Thank you so much, Analytics. It's been great having you.
Okay, that's Titi Lope. I want us to also listen to Konedu. Konedu joined us sometime last year from Ghana. Let's listen to Konedu's experience very quickly. It's a very short video, just like Titi Lope's.
Hello everyone, my name is Kunedu Swansa. I'm from Ghana and I'm with Analytics, the April cohort. I got to learn about Analytics from Instagram. I think Olu of Canada shared it, and then I joined the masterclass with Ifemina, and I got to understand, okay, this is something I could do. Now, I don't have any computer science background. I'm coming from a purely art background, sociology, French, oil and gas management. So for me, this was a challenge, and I thought it was going to be really difficult. At the beginning, I was scared, but no, I have very dedicated and smart teachers who took us along the way. They helped us grasp the concepts. They explained things to us in the barest minimum form so we could understand everything that was done. So I think that no matter where you're coming from, don't be afraid. Analytics has got you. Really, they will help you do everything you want to do, and they'll even take you for LinkedIn optimization and CV. I mean, who does that really? So guys, please, if you're interested in a career change, Analytics, they're great. Thank you.
Right, so that's Konedu, and there's so many of them. All right, I'm not going to bore you with too many videos because you would have access to these videos. Okay. All right, so I'm going to bring up Cynthia and Loretta very quickly. So Cynthia is already on the call. Loretta is on the call as well. So Cynthia, if you can turn on your video, let's get to see you. So like I said, Cynthia just joined in January. So sometime in December, Cynthia was in a master class, just like some of you are currently. And she decided to take the step to register and join the business analysis program. Okay, so Cynthia is here to share her experience with you. So Cynthia, if you want to put on your video so we can see you, that would be fantastic. All right, so let's get to see Cynthia.
Hi.
Cynthia, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm fine.
Where are you joining us from? Yes.
I'm joining from Glasgow, actually, UK.
From Glasgow in the UK.
Hello.
Fantastic. All right, so Cynthia, experience.
I think I registered in October, but fear couldn't allow me to join the class. Fear and this. So I was like, I can't continue. Let me move over to January. And January 1st started the first week. I wasn't able to meet up as well.
Sorry, Cynthia, we couldn't hear you. We can't hear you very clearly. Your audio is a bit muddled up. We can't hear you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a bit better. Go on.
Okay. I said I registered in October, but out of fear and my business schedule, so I couldn't join. I have to join the January 1st. First week of January, I was not able to join again, but I must say that I enjoyed the class on Saturday and on Sunday. In fact, I was dancing all through today. My husband was like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I don't understand what's going on. I've not been able to practice. I've not been able to. I don't know anything about computer. And here am I, building a table all by myself without anybody helping me. You know, it's something, I was so happy. I really enjoyed it. And I pray that it will continue like this. Thank you. Thank you, Senala.
Fantastic. Don't worry, Cynthia. So now the thing is, most of the time, we're always scared of the unknown. All right. So what will happen? Am I smart enough? I saw somebody actually said in the chat that It's a career path for intelligent people. But I would like you to listen to what's her name now, Abigail. Abigail had the same impression. Okay, and she even mentioned it in her video, and I'll play that video because of Izu, who said it's for intelligent people. So listen to Abigail and what she has to say about her own transitioning story. So thank you very much, Cynthia. Cynthia is in Glasgow, joining us all the way from the UK. She's currently in the January cohort. She registered in October, but was scared to start because she wasn't sure if she could cope. And now that she's joined, she's using Excel, and she's shocked that she could ever do that eventually. Okay, so let's listen to Loretta. Loretta, if you can turn on your video, just share your story very quickly with us. And thank you for joining us today. Let me know if you're there, Loretta. Okay, I can see Loretta. Hi, Loretta. If you can hear me, you can just put on your video and let's spotlight you. Okay. All right, so Loretta is up now. Brilliant.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Loretta. Where are you joining us
I was
from?
trying to log in with my laptop, but the network is bad.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, Loretta has network challenges. Okay, so Loretta, if you can, I'm not sure you hear me, but Ubong, can you communicate with Loretta? Let her know that her internet is a bit bad, has some issues, and let her try to fix it, and then she'll come back to share her story with us. Okay? If you can hear me, Ubong. Now, Izu, I want to prove to
No
you.
worries. Okay, so my name is Loretta.
Oh no. Okay, so Loretta is going to fix her internet and then she'll come back to us. But I want to prove to Izu. Izu said the business analysis is for intelligent people. I need you to listen to Abigail. All right, I need you to listen to Abigail. Very, very important. Loretta, is the internet okay now? No, it's still not, it's still breaking. I need you to listen to Abigail Izu, all right? So I'm going to play Abigail's video. But before it comes up, so Abigail spoke.
Hi.
Before it plays, Abigail spoke in a session, just like this session we are having now, where you have Loretta, you have Cynthia. So Abigail came up to speak about how she was able to transition, okay? So I want you to listen. Izu, please pay very good attention to what Abigail has to say.
Guys.
Hello,
Some people
Abigail.
know
How are you doing
me.
today?
I know. I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm very well. Where are you joining us from, Abigail?
I'm from Saskatchewan, Regina, Canada, but I'll be moving to Edmonton end of the month for my new job.
Brilliant. All right. So
Yeah.
Abigail would like to hear your story because, of course, you know, there are so many people here. They want to become business analysts. They've always found it very difficult and think that I must be the most intelligent person on earth to transition or become a business analyst. So tell us about your story. How were you able to make the transition yourself?
Yeah, so coming to, you have this mindset when you come from Nigeria to Canada, you just thought you are landing the six-figure job and then you are going to be rich in the next 2 months, 3 months or more. When I came, there's a different story. I choke. So I was unemployed for some time, like it was depressing in and out. So I thought to myself, like, I used to think like I'm intelligent, but no, Canada told you are not intelligent. Like it is zero. So I've always, I got this certification of business. Sometimes you just do something. I always say it even in class, you got it and you don't know what it means. You don't know whatever, you know. So I had it and then the search for job, I was called for interviews and all of that. So possibly, I think I fumbled a lot in the interview. So I was like, what is wrong with me? Like I need to do something. And then a friend saw the advert of Analytics and like, do you think this is something he could do? And before he could answer, I'd already paid my money because I know I needed coaching and all of that. So I did the coaching. It was in the coaching that I realized I have entered a one chance since that I don't know anything actually, even though I thought I knew. So it was in the coaching that I was, I was I was really coached to the extent of there was one thing that is it Adeze or the other guy said, like you could be a carpenter and be a business analyst. You could be a mother and you are a business analyst or a project manager. You could be selling pure water and you are a business analyst. So talk more of somebody that is a professional, like you've worked for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, maybe 15 years. So you are certainly, a business analyst. So what I did after the lectures and everything, not every day I got the time to go through the lectures. Everything changed. My mindset changed. My perception about how to go about answering questions changed. So I'm like, okay, now you need this job so bad. How do you think you are gonna like be able to nail it? Now, before then, I was still doing like my $15 job, $17 job, where somebody that got just 2 years experience, 3 years, will come and show you, you need to do this. You don't know this is, and you're like, oh my God, like I've managed, tons of people in Nigeria. Like I have a lot of subordinates, 15, 20, 5 maybe. And then somebody is telling you you don't know how to do things, and it feels like, okay, no problem. It's not your fault. It's Canada that caused it or something like that. So I now told myself, okay, after the lectures and everything, which I'm really appreciative and grateful about, um, I now told myself, the dull you inside your head, how are you going to do all this? Because it seems like a lot of information, a lot of things to deal with all at the same time. So what I did, I picked all the business analyst terms, all the terms. So I made sure I know all the terms of business analyst. I crammed it basically. I crammed the elicitation, I crammed what is the use case, I crammed the communication diagram, I understood what is cost benefit analysis, requirement analysis, business case, quality control gap analysis, process mapping, functional requirement, non-functional requirement, bottlenecks, collaboration, system enhancement, prioritization, traceability requirements, stakeholder collaboration, cross-functional team, all of that. Now, naturally, these are things that we use every day. These are statements that we use in an everyday life. But now it has moved to BA, they have changed the same topic and everything. For once, if you say requirements gathering, it could mean like, okay, give me the document to open an account. But now it has turned to BA, the name has changed to requirements gathering. So what I did to myself is understand the meaning in BA terms, what it means. Okay, requirement gathering, what is gap analysis? Like, this is a problem. What causes the problem? What do I need to do and all that? So like I crammed, I learned these terms that when you wake me up, you tell me what it is, I know what it means. So after that, after I did that, when I go to interview, I made conscious effort not to call customer when I need to say stakeholder, so that you would think in your head that I am a professional, even though my head is still dull somehow. So that is what I did. I crammed the terms, which can help some of us, because now, like they explained, it just feels like a lot of information, like, oh my God, all the big terms. But when am I going to learn all these things? Like, when am I going to understand what is functional requirement again? What is it is very simple functional requirement. It is like, like it is as simple as ABC. So what I would tell you guys, to get it faster for you guys, is to understand these terms and start using it in your like daily day life, so that when you go to interview, it just comes naturally. When I had the last interview, it just feels like I felt like I did a lot of rubbish. I'm like, please just send me my sorry mail. I'm already used to the sorry mail. And then I was surprised. It just like about a week or two, and I got like a reference check, and I sent to some of my friends. I like, oh, I think you got the job. I'm like, no, I can't get this job because I mean it's big. Like, why should you? I'm a care worker. Why should you give me a supervisor or business analyst supervisor role from being like a care worker? No, like that's not possible. I mean, the gap is like 3 times what I'm making, and like you are giving me so amount in an hour, and it's not the 6 figure yet, so we are getting to the 6 figure, I'm sure eventually, but it's really good enough for a start. As somebody that you've always thought maybe you are not a BA, you don't have idea what it means, you have nothing, and all of that. So now the good thing is I'm going to be reporting to the manager data analyst, and then
Okay, so it's a very long video, like I said, so we can go on, and I'm sure you're already, finding it interesting what Abigail had to say. She had a lot to say, and I would implore you to take out time when you receive the slides, click on the link, listen to Abigail. You'll learn one or two things from her. So this is Abigail who knew nothing in business analysis, but what did she decide to do? And I remember Abigail vividly during the mentorship sessions, interview prep sessions. She always asked questions. Abigail would ask every question. And I'm sure from the way she spoke, you'll know that she's somebody she's extroverted, is clear. She's an extrovert. So she doesn't hold back. She asks questions. And all she did was simple. So Izu, I hope you learned a little bit, one or two things from Abigail. She took out time to learn all the terms so that she would sound intelligent in the front of a hiring manager. Okay, so, and of course, Abigail today, you heard her. She's working as a business analyst for a company in Edmonton, more than ×3 what she was earning wherever she was previously. So that's the beauty. And there are so many people, so many of them. Oluwatosin works as a fraud analyst in the UK. Ikmat works with the NHS as well. You have Shade, you have Patience, you have Benga, you have Michael, you have Idris, who has worked with Jaguar Land Rover. He currently works, so many of them, and it will be amazing for you to listen to their story and how they were also able to transition. And that's what we stand for. We stand as the bridge between what you learn and how to get a job, irrespective of where you are. All right. Abigail is in Canada. You have Rafiat, you have Ramat, who is in the UK. Ramat is in the UK. Rafiat is in the UK as well. You have Olamide, who is also in the UK, and so on. Okay. How have we been able to do this? And what are the things we put in place to help you? And in 2023 alone, what we did was help over 850 people transition. In 2022, we did over 1,000, helping them get jobs from the classroom to getting their first jobs in tech. And when you listen to if you listen carefully to Abigail, she said she had gotten a certification before she joined us. But with the certification, she goes for interviews and she fumbles. Remember what I said about putting the cart before the horse. So with her certification, she couldn't get a job. But what did she do? She came to learn the skill. She now knew how to put these things into application, how to apply, how to interview, how to sell yourself, and so on. And that was what made her get the job. And I always tell people that care to listen, the certification would never get you the job. The organizations can see through you if you have the skill to deliver or not. If you've done it before or not, they can tell easily. We have the best curriculum, up-to-date curriculum, and that's why you'd see data analytics as part of our curriculum, ChatGPT as part of the curriculum. And these are the things that set you ahead from the competition. Industry hands-on experience, you have the best professionals to walk you through, help you prepare, teach you the skills to become a business analyst. It's a blended learning approach. Classes on Saturdays and Sundays, and then you have it blended with your mentorship sessions, LinkedIn sessions, CV review sessions, and so on and so forth. And those are the things that have made our participants so successful. The additional sessions, not just the technical skill. And like I tell people, your technical skill is just 50%. If you're very good with Excel, you're very good with draw.io, you can create amazing process maps. That would not get you the job. What gets you the job is how you are able to sell yourself. Okay, and that's where we do our best work. And I'll talk about that. You have internship, you join our internship program, which simulates the real world experience. So you communicate to recruiters that you've done this before, and they can see that when you talk about your projects. And that is what gets you into the space. All right. And we do this in 3 different levels. What made us so successful? How we helped over 850 people last year across different areas to transition from data analytics to business analysis, data science, and so on. How have we been able to do this? The first level is where your CV, reviewing your CV. I talked about how we added Excel, Power BI, and SQL to Olamide's job as part of his job role, added it to his CV, and that got him a job as a business data analyst. Okay, so your CV becomes very important because that's the first thing the recruiter would see before they speak to you. And your LinkedIn optimization, we help you optimize your LinkedIn. Olamide did not have a LinkedIn profile. Olamide, the fine gentleman, handsome gentleman, fantastic guy, he didn't have a LinkedIn profile. He created his profile after joining Analytics. Okay, and those were some of the reasons why he struggled to land a job since February. So we made those adjustments for him, and today he's working as a professional within the space, and that's another Analytics ambassador that we are very proud of. Upwork optimization, working on projects as a freelancer, as a business analyst freelancer across different regions, navigating the job market, how to apply to jobs, where to apply to jobs. We provide that for you. Interview preparation. You have an interview. How do you prepare for that interview? How do you know the right things to say? Abigail has been in one of our mock interview sessions before. She was there. She volunteered to be part of it because she knew what she wanted to get out of the program. So we prepare you for interviews, teach you how to introduce yourself. When they ask you the question, tell me about yourself, you know what to say. When a recruiter asks you, how much would you like to get paid? Or what are your salary expectations? You know that you don't mention a figure, okay? And you know the type of answer to give back to them, all right? So we teach you those skills so that you get into an interview and they would respect you and see that you are really the true person for the job. Recommendation and references. Organizations would want reputable people that can stand as referees for you and say that they know you, you've done this for them, and that's what you do when you join us at Analytics, all right? You would get the most compelling references from us that helps you secure that job. Weekly mentorship session, that's the level 2. Every Thursday evening, you have the weekly mentorship where myself, the co-founder, other industry experts would work with you to help you make the transition seamless, okay? And of course, you also have on-the-job support. So you've got to the job, you need support on the job. We work with you to ensure that you have a soft landing, you have your feet on the ground fully for 1 month, would help you solve critical issues that you need help with. And the final level, which is something we are introducing for 2024, is guaranteed interview 1 month after you complete your program. Okay, guaranteed interview 1 month. So with all the things we're going to do, the CV, the LinkedIn, preparing you for jobs and so on, you get an interview 1 month after the program. Just like Abigail, just like Olamide, just like Ramat, just like Rafiat, and so many other people, you would also get into the interview, which is a 50% chance of you landing the job. Because once you have an interview, the next thing is to sell yourself because they like you. They like what they see. But the next question is, can you actually prove to them that you have the skills, you can implement and do those things for them? And that is where Analytics does its best work. Okay, you join the internship. I've talked about the internship already. You add it to your CV and so on and so forth. Okay, new additions for the year. And we are inching very close to the end of our session, where I tell you how much you need to invest to be a part of the program. Some new things we are implementing in 2024. that Cynthia and Loretta are currently enjoying. Loretta, please, if your internet is okay now, just give me a thumbs up or just type into the chat so I know that your internet is good. So we are implementing something we call the Body Mentorship Hub. Okay, a lot of people always rush, how much is the program? But you need to know what you're getting into. Very important. Okay, so you are fully armed with all the information. So you can even ask very good questions and I'll be happy to take those questions. Okay, what is the Body Mentorship Hub? You see somebody like Abigail, you see somebody like Ramat, like Temi, like Olamide, who have gotten jobs in different regions. We bring them back to also serve as your body. So they'll work with you to help you address certain issues. You have problems here, you have problems there. You want to get the first-hand information. Oh, Abigail, this is what I'm currently facing. I'm in Edmonton or I'm in Calgary. How can I surmount this challenge since you're also in the same region? Abigail just got a job in November. Olamide got his job in November. Mojishola got a job in December. So these are people that just got their jobs recently. We have the most recent testimonials on the slide. Mojishola, can you tell me what I need to do in this particular area? And that's the advantage of the body, having a body as a mentor. All right, we are implementing this in January. For those who are joining us in 2024, you have that opportunity. We also moved our business analysis internship. It used to be 1 month, but we increased it to 2 months so that you have the opportunity to work on the web application project. Okay, and lastly, we are partnering with recruitment agencies in the UK like Hayes, Robert Half in Canada, and so on. Partnering with these recruitment agencies to get the jobs closer to you. So when we say 1 month after your training, you get an interview, is because one of the reasons is because of this partnership. So the recruitment agencies would funnel you to those companies that want to hire you. So you'll get those interviews faster than you would when you have to apply to those jobs. The next cohort starts on the 3rd of February. Okay, day by day, the cohort is inching closer. And how much does it take for you to be a part of the cohort that starts on the 3rd of February? The business analysis program, we have an amazing discount for all of you, an amazing discount. Instead of $750 to be a part of the program, you get to pay just $600. You have a $150 discount to join the program. And you can also make the payments in 2 installments. The first installment of $450, which gets you into the class. And then $150 1 month after the class commences. Somebody was asking, if I want to pay in CDs, how do I pay and so on? You don't need to bother yourself with that. You can pay in any of the 3 currencies you have on the screen. Just click on any of the I'll show you how to do that using the link. Okay, you can pay in Naira, you can pay in pounds, you can pay in dollars. Okay, it does the conversion for you automatically. If I'm paying in CD, for example, and I want to pay in Naira, it does the conversion for me. Okay, and that makes it easy for you, for the person that asked the question in the chat. And if I'm paying in pounds, instead of £625, you have an amazing discount of to pay just £500. So £125 discount. And this is not available for everybody or to everybody. It's just for the first 20 people who joins the business analysis program that starts February 2024. All right, and you don't have to pay everything at once. You can make 2 installments of £375 to get started, get into the class, and 1 month after the class commences, you get to pay the balance of $125. And if you're paying in Naira, you have a whopping discount of instead of paying 900, you get to pay just 720. 540 initial payments and then 180 1 month after the class commences. And this is the amazing, fantastic discount we have, but just for the first 20 people. Our business analysis program is one of the programs where you have amazing professionals joining us. People who are master's students, people who are currently in a different career path but wants to transition. Data analysts that wants to become business analysts, data scientists that want to become business analysts because of the demand for these roles across. Okay, so how do I make payments? All you have to do is click on this link. Click on this link and it takes you into the enrollment page. Okay, it takes you to the enrollment page. And from the enrollment page, you can get access to the program brochure. All right, you can get access to the brochure over here, clicking on this link. And you can also make your payments. If you want to do a direct transfer in pounds, you have the pound account details. You can do a direct transfer in pounds. But what if I want to pay with my card? Yes, you can do that. If you want to pay in dollars or pounds or euros or Canadian dollars, you can do that by using this link. So you see the business analysis program, okay? You can make the full payment or the part payment. So clicking on any of these links will take you to the payment page. So if I click on full payment, for example, it takes me to where I can make the full payment. And I'll show you that shortly. All right. And if you want to make the parts payment, you can also make your parts payments. Something very interesting that you also need to know. You want to secure the discount because you know that the discount is just for the first 20 people. But I don't have £375 to pay today to secure my discount. Can I pay lesser than that? Absolutely, you can. To secure the discount, and then you balance up the first installment. And I'll show you how to do that. So I want to make the first installment. All right, it's £500, but of course, because of the exchange, the dollar to the pound exchange rates, you have an additional £2 discount. So instead of paying 500, you have 498. So if I want to pay today to secure my slots, I even have an extra £2 discount. I just come here, click on reserve a seat, and then it takes you to where you enter your email, enter your name, enter your phone number, and click on proceed. You enter your card details, and then you get to make payments. Once you make payments, you receive an automated receipt into your email, the email you've provided. Okay, but what if I want to make my first installment, which is 375? But because I want to be a part of the first 20, I want to secure my discounted slots. All right, today I have £250. I can't pay. I don't have money to pay the entire 375. Can I pay 250? Yes, you can. All you have to do is also just like the way you make the full payment, you go to where you have the part payment, okay? The first part payment, and click on that link. And it takes you into the page where you can make your payments, all right? And all you have to do is there's a minimum amount you can pay to secure your discount or secure your slots, which is £207.5. So let's assume I have 250. I just come in here, take out what I have and type in 250 so that I can secure my discount. And then I make the additional top up before the class starts, because class starts on the 3rd of February. But if I wait till then, I'll lose the discounted slots. And I tell you for a fact that so many people come the week before the class starts and want to pay the discounted slots, the discounted amount. But by then, no slots are available. And they keep on begging and begging. And it makes us feel like we are bad people not giving them the discounted slots. Okay? But that's simply because the slots are gone. And it's the best time for you to get into the program is to be one of the first 20 people to register. So if I want to pay $250 today to secure my discount, I type that in, click on reserve a seat. The same way, enter my email, enter my full name, and then click on proceed, and I can make payments. I get my receipts into my email, all right? And that's how you can make payments. And if you want to pay in Naira, you are in Ghana. So what the Ghanaians do, just like Konedu, Sheila, Mubashir, so many people who have joined us from Ghana, what they do is they pay using the pay stack option, which is the Naira payment. So it does the conversion for you automatically and debits you in the CD's equivalent in Naira, all right? So I come in here, I click on full or first part payment. If I want to pay in Naira or I want to pay, I'm in Ghana and I also want to make payments. It takes me to the Paystack platform and I look for the business analysis program. Click on that, okay? And I can select full payments or part payments from here. I can either select full payments or part payments. Click on add to bag, click on checkout, and then you'd also get an automated receipt into your email. And if you want to do a direct transfer, so you would ask the question, Adeza, I want to be a part of the program, okay? But I don't have the 540, I want to pay in Naira, but I don't have the 540 today, and I want to secure my discount so that I'm one of the first 20 people. What can I do? You can pay a minimum of 300,000 out of the 540 to get registered. And a week before the program starts, you make the balance of 240. The program starts on the 3rd of February. So that gives you the flexibility to be a part of the program. So how do I make the 300? You can do a direct transfer. Okay, so we have our Fidelity Bank account also on the same enrollment page. You have the Fidelity Bank account. My colleagues are also sharing that on the chart. So take advantage. You get to make your payments. You get into the program. All right. So that's how you make a direct transfer if you want to. Once you've made payments, you've done a direct transfer. You take a screenshot of the payment as proof. What do you do next? You go to where you have upload your receipts. So remember, if you pay using Paystack or you pay in dollars or pounds or Canadian dollars, you receive an automated receipt. Come to upload your receipts so that you can register your details. Now, a lot of people would also ask that I have some commitments in February, so I want to start in March. Can I start in March? The answer is yes. So when filling this form, you'd see where you can defer your program till March. And the beauty is you would have taken advantage of the discount that is currently ongoing, but then you start in March. You heard Cynthia. Cynthia registered since October, but she's just starting in January because she's always been scared if she could do it. We have people who have already paid for February. They paid in January, this January, they paid in December, and they want to start in February. Okay, so you can also be a part of that. And some other people would say, I want to have a conversation with you, Adeza. I want to ask some personal questions or some personalized questions. Okay, my advice is go ahead, secure your discounts, come to the form, and when filling the form, you enter your email, type of payment, click on next. Okay, your first name, last name, email, gender, click on next. All right, terms and conditions, you read that, click on next. Okay, when did you make payments? Upload a screenshot, and this is where you upload the proof of payments so that we can confirm your payment. And once your payment is confirmed, you receive an email from us, and you also receive a welcome kit that contains all the materials you need for the class. Mode of payments, I did a direct transfer. Click on next. Okay, click on next, and then you would see which program are you registering for. So for those who would like to have, we call it a clarity session. Maybe I'm currently an accountant. I want to transition into business analysis, or I'm in procurement. I want to do business analysis. I need to ask some questions. Secure the discounts, make your payments, fill the form, and when you are selecting the program, rather than selecting business analysis, select I need to speak with a professional. Okay, I would invite you tomorrow on Tuesday. We'll have a session with you where we have a one-on-one and you get to ask those personalized questions. Click on next, continue filling the form, and you'd see the cohort you want to start. So for those that have commitments in February, you want to start in March, this is where you select that. So instead of selecting 3rd of February, we have another cohort that starts on the 2nd of March. So you can select 2nd of March if that's when you want to start. Okay. and then you continue filling the form, country of residence, I'm in the UK, and so on, and fill and submit. Once you submit, we receive and we onboard you into the classroom, okay? I'm going to take a pause at this point in time. I would love to take questions. So if you have questions, you want to ask questions, I'm open to taking your questions. If you want to speak, please feel free, raise your hand. I'll call you up to speak so that I get your questions answered. So first 20 people to register gets the discount. Don't forget. And your facilitators, I'll be there, one of your facilitators. You'd see me during your mentorship, your interview preparations, and so on. You also have Linda. Linda is a business analyst with 10 years of experience working as a business analyst for multiple organizations globally. You'd also work with Oluwaseun, who is a product reliability engineer in the UK. He works with Visa, all right? You know Visa, MasterCard, Visa, your card payments company. He works with Visa as a product reliability engineer. He's going to be one of your trainers, one of your facilitators, the cream of the crop and the best in the business. You also have Olabisi, who is a business analyst and also a Scrum Master and an IT project manager. Works with Access Bank in Nigeria, should also be one of your trainers. You have so many more testimonials. I'll leave that to you. When you receive the slide, ensure that you listen to these people and hear how they've been able to make their own transition. All right, so let's take questions. For anybody who has a different, maybe you need a payment plan, because people always send me this message, oh, Ades, I need a payment plan. I need something different from what you've said. Just send an email to Nene. So I'm sending this to somebody who sent me a direct message, right? So nene@tenalytics.io. All right. So Ladybird, send a message to Nene and she would help you sort out some things. Okay. Should work on a payment plan for you. Faithfulness is asking, between a business analyst and a data scientist, who has more pay? Faithfulness are very particular about more pay, which is good. So it depends. It depends. You can't say categorically that this particular job role has a better paying salary. You see some data science roles for as high as £60,000 per annum. Okay. You see some data science role as high as $85,000. And you see some business analyst roles even more than that, and sometimes lesser. All right. But compared to the data analyst, the business analyst earns, just a little bit more than the data analyst. They are more at par with the data scientist. After this 3rd of February, when is the next one? March, we have new cohorts every single month. The difference is the discount is not always available. Okay, the discount is not always available. So you have the unique opportunity of taking advantage of the discounts today to be a part of the program. All right. So I think, I don't know if Loretta, I don't know if your internet is stable. Is Loretta still on the call, Ubong? I'm not sure. Loretta, if you can type in a message into the chat. If your internet is stable now, please let us know so that we can bring you up. You are here already, so it'd be nice to also hear you speak, Loretta. Not really. All right. Would March be the last for the year? Of course not. Like I said, we have every single month from January till December. We did that in 2023. We did it in 2022. We did it in 2021 and also in 2020. And that's how we've been able to help so many people to transition because of the volume. Okay, so Loretta's network is still a bit unstable, so that's fine. Now let's look at the classes. Okay, how does a typical class at Tenalytics look like? If you join the program, what would your class look like? So let's go into the January cohorts, the class that started on the 6th of January. Okay, so let's see what they have done so far. All right, so you can see the business analysis 2401. NA means North America. So for those in Canada, the US, who joins the evening classes, that's their class. EU 2401 for those in the UK, Europe, Nigeria, similar time zones. You'd find them in this class. So let's check this class. Okay, and let's see what they've been doing and what they're up to. So I click on classwork. And the first thing you'd see is what? Interview preparation session. So you have an interview, and even though they have just joined, they have just started, you can see the job sites, okay? Job sites where you'd apply to jobs, all right? You don't wait until you're done before you start applying to jobs. You start to apply to jobs before you are done. Creating your portfolio, how to create your portfolio. Remember I talked about competence before credentials, okay? Competence over credentials. And I also talked about not putting the cart before the horse. So coming up with a portfolio that shows anybody, any recruiter, who you are, the type of project you have worked on. You create a portfolio, okay? But let's go right to the very beginning of the program. So when you start, you see the welcome kits, okay? You have a welcome kit, and let's just see what the welcome kit looks like. So this is what you get when you make payments, and it contains we have this very beautiful picture that we took during our strategy retreats. I'm currently in Nigeria. I came from the UK to Nigeria to have our strategy retreat, and we had all our colleagues and employees from different locations, most of them anyways. Not everybody could attend. Those in Canada couldn't make it, and some people also in the UAE could not make it as well. We had an amazing retreat in December, and it was a beautiful event. All right, so we have a welcome video for you. That's the first thing you'd see when you receive your welcome kits, and that's myself and Efemena. And then you have an introductory video that shows you how to walk through the Google Classroom, how to download your videos, how to download your materials, and so on. Okay, you have your lesson plan, your Excel, your Microsoft Power BI, your timing and everything, and then your mentorship sessions, all the things you'll be doing, how to download and install Microsoft Office, download and install PostgreSQL, download and install Power BI. All right, so you have this. Now, after the welcome kits, you go into your very first class, Excel, Microsoft Excel Class 1. The beauty of being in our program is you don't miss anything. If you miss a class, you have the class recording. All you have to do is come here. You can either download the recording to your computer or you can watch it online, and you'll see every single thing that was done in class. You have the data sets, the class materials, you have the data sets, you have the slides. So you can always go back to practice. So when Abigail was saying that she memorized all the terms, she went back to class, was listening, writing down and making notes of all the things she had done. Okay, so that's the very first Excel class. And let's look at the case study you're going to work on. In your very first class, you have a case study, and that's why the program is case study based. Okay, Glow Gadgets, and that's the company you're going to work for. You would use Excel in this class to solve a problem. You're going to build a dashboard for this company, helping them solve the problem. But the very first day, you go into your introduction, understand what Microsoft Excel is all about, the Excel environment, and you can see that, okay, you learn about Excel, what is a colon, what is a cell, and all of those amazing stuff about Excel, okay? You have your second Excel class, and then you have an assignment where you work on a case study, Sunshine Reports case study, okay? After these assignments, let's look at the presentation. You come to make a presentation, and let's see what people did during the presentation. So as a business analyst, remember, your communication skills must always be on point, how you communicate. And that's why during the program, you'd work on so many projects where you would have to present and communicate your findings. So you start to build your confidence and build skills in presentation. Okay, so you see what people did and how they presented. Let's see, maybe we would watch just a few. Let's watch maybe just 30 seconds. So you get to see what people did during their presentations. and you work together in groups. So you have groups, you form a team, work together, solve the problem, and then you have presentations, okay? I'm just going to move this and let's see if we can listen to one presentation. And you'll see what they've done for the class that started in January. In less than a week, they just wrapped up their second class this weekend. They started last weekend. They just had their second class this weekend. And you'll see what they've done so far, okay? Let me move this forward. So that is Isosa. Isosa is an amazing facilitator who's going to walk you through Excel, okay? So let's listen to this. Let's listen to this very quickly, just for 30 seconds, and then I'll move on.
We go to the dashboard. Wait a minute, no, this one. So we'll go to the dashboard. Let me see. But I just found out this is what we ended up with. So we made two dashboards because the last question was filter dashboard by hotel and.
Okay, let's go to another group very quickly. Okay.
I'll have to talk more of this later. But so far, that's the highest distribution channel used. Sorry. Number 5. Customer through agents. We found that most transient, the customer type that usually utilizes agents more is the transient type, and then followed by transient party, contracts, and group. Booking by month. For booking by month, we compared the arrival date, that's the month that the guest is expected to arrive to the hotel, in comparison with the previous booking cancelled and the bookings not cancelled and the previous cancellations. So if we're going to pick one to focus more on, I would say the bookings that were not cancelled, because that one was sure that at least we're sure that the client is coming to the hotel. But to have like an overview of which month in particular people book more of, we included the previous cancellations to just, kind of give us a view of, despite it's being cancelled, what month do people actually tend to book hotels more? And we found out that is September. September is usually the highest, usually receives the highest booking of hotels. So.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop it there, of course, because of time. And this is a participant, Alfreda, presenting the work she did with our, other group members. And this is how the best way to learn. So you're not learning by watching, you're not learning by reading, you are learning by doing. You're actually doing stuff and you get feedback. You go back and make it better and come back to show your final outcome. And that's the way the presentation works. All right, and this is Alfreda presenting what she has been able to do together with her group members. And that's the presentation. And of course, you have your mentorship sessions and you have your drop-in session. Let me talk about the drop-in session. So the drop-in session is where maybe somebody like Alfreda had a problem when she was creating her own submission. Okay, and in the process of doing that, she's trying to do so many things, but couldn't get it right. And she needs somebody to help her. So the drop-in session happens during the week. And this is where you have a data coach, your class facilitator, jump on a call with you one-on-one during the week to help you address those challenges that you have. Okay, so they've done their Power BI. You'd see the Power BI case study, what they worked on in Power BI, Max Corporation. That was the project that they solved, Power BI. You start with what is Power BI, components of Power BI, what is ETL, and all of those things. And that's the beauty of being a business analyst in today's world. You must understand these things. And then you use your understanding together with your facilitator, and you work on a case study. And this case study is where you use Power BI to solve a problem for this company, Conva, to help them address issues, analyzing their data, coming up with KPIs to help them make data-driven decisions. All right? And that's how you learn. You create a portfolio. Every single thing you do, you add that to your portfolio. Once you have gotten feedback, you've made it better, you add it to your portfolio. And that's your proof of work. Okay? So if anybody asks, show me how you've done, what you've done with Power BI, you have something to show for it. Okay? I'm going to check questions and see. I always call myself a business analyst. I work with a retail company as a sales executive. Some things I learned today is an eye-opener for me and can actually help me in building my career. Absolutely, Izu. Absolutely. What can I do to participate? So what you can do, Izu, like I always advise people, all right? You might not start in February, you might not start in March, but plan towards when you want to start. Okay? Your plan should be that before the end of 2024, I want to acquire these skills and I want to apply to jobs and stand a chance of getting the job. Okay? And you plan towards that. That'll be my advice to you, Izu. Okay? Let's see, we have more questions. Okwemi says, I have a beginner training in data analytics. Would you advise I stay on track or I can switch to business analysis? It's after your presentation. I was thinking of the possibilities of switching. Can I do both? I really want to start. Can I do both data analytics and business analysis? I really want to start something in February. My advice to you, Okwemi, I don't believe in beginner level. As far as I'm concerned, there is nothing like entry-level beginner when it comes to data analytics. It's either you're a data analyst or not, okay? And most of the time, what I've seen is I've tested people that say they have the skill and find out that with what you have, you can't get anything. You can't do anything as a data analyst, okay? It depends on what you want to do. Your first choice was data analytics. So you need to question that objective. What made you go into data analytics in the first place? All right. Business analysis is another fantastic career path, but you need to ask yourself, why am I transitioning? Why do I want to be a data analyst? Why do I want to be a business analyst? Okay. If you're able to answer that, then you start to have a clear path to follow. I have a bias for data analytics because I'm a data analyst, okay? But looking at you as an individual who has a different professional experience from mine, data analytics, business analysis are absolutely fantastic career path. And if you take your time, join us and let's work on you for either the data analytics program or business analysis, starting in February. I can tell you for a fact that you'd have done amazing stuff in less than 3 months. Okay. So Payemi, I'll suggest to you, if you need to secure your discounts, okay, make a payment, fill the form, select a need to speak with a professional, and let's have a one-on-one session. Okay. I'm just looking through the chart to see questions. Between a data scientist and a business analyst, which has more demand? A business analyst is higher in demand because every organization today would have a business analyst, would hire a business analyst. Okay, and the roles, because data science itself is also very high in demand, but you don't have as many people going into data science because of the level of skills involved. Okay, you need to learn Python, you need to understand statistics, you need to understand mathematics, and so on as a data scientist. All right, the demand is there, the demand is high, but the business analyst has a higher demand than the data science role. But I always tell people this, faithfulness. If you learn a skill in a career path that has the highest demand in the world, doesn't mean you get the job before the person that learned a different skill. Okay, the most important thing is you have the skill and you know how to apply to get those jobs. You've done every single thing you need to do. That is what gets you the job. Even if it's in a career path that doesn't have very fantastic career prospects in terms of demand, but you are one person that would stand out in a pile of applications, you'll get the job. And that's where we do our best work, like I said. Okay, I have just basic computer knowledge. You don't need any knowledge. You don't need any experience. Ladybird, you see the way you are with zero experience. That's how we want you. Okay, that's how we want you to come to us. Just like Cynthia, we listened to Cynthia when she came. She paid in October, but because of fear, she couldn't join until January. And today she's seen that, look, I was just scared unnecessarily. All the things I'm doing in class are things, you know, I never believed I would have been able to do. Okay. I don't have a university degree. You don't need a university degree, Chinwe. If you have a diploma, if you have a postgraduate diploma, you have a national diploma, HND, you are good to go. All right. Like I mentioned, competence before credentials. Okay, competence before credentials. We had a gentleman who worked in Bolts. He worked in Bolts. He got a job with Bolts after joining our program. He has no degree. He doesn't even have any higher degree. Nothing, no diploma, nothing. Okay, and he got a job with Bolts, although he joined our data analytics, not the business analysis. What if I miss a class due to work? It's not a problem, Abiodun. I just showed you the class. If you miss a class, your recordings are here. All you have to do is, this is Excel class 1. You have the class recording. All you have to do is go to the class recording, watch the recording, work with the materials and the slides. And if you have questions afterwards, you have your drop-in session. The drop-in session is where you get to ask questions that you couldn't solve. Issues you couldn't solve while watching the video, you have the opportunity to ask them in a drop-in session, and somebody will work with you one-on-one to help you address them. Okay, so I think we've answered a whole lot of questions and we'll start to call it a day. What I'll say before we wrap up today, you have brothers, you have a sister, you have a colleague, you have a friend that you think can benefit from this program. Our referral is amazing in terms of the number of people that come to us through word of mouth. Simply amazing. So recommend to that person you think can benefit from this and let them join to transform their career. You've seen all the people that have done amazing stuff. Okay, you should also be one of those people in 2024. All right, so you want to be a part of the program, go ahead, take advantage of the discounts and register. And once you've done that, on the 3rd of February, we'll start your journey into business analysis. Okay, follow us on all our platforms on Instagram. Follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, and across all platforms. And for those who might want to download the brochure, I think I showed you how to do that. To download the brochure from the enrollment page. Okay, download the brochure from the enrollment page over here. All right, and get access to all the brochures. All right, and follow us on all our platforms. You can also check us out on our website at tenalytics.io. All right, and you'd see all the amazing stuff we've been doing. Go on YouTube and listen to all the people that have been able to transition. Go hear their story and see the amazing stuff they've been able to do and how we've helped them to also make the switch. Okay. I don't know if it's my network. My computer has been acting up with this. All right, so the website is up. So you can come to our website, follow us across all our platforms. Like I said, go to learn, click on instructor-led courses, and then you get to see all the programs, the business analysis, the breakdown, and everything. Okay, so if I go to the business analysis, for example, okay, click on view course details. It takes you to the course page. and you can download the brochure from there. You get access to the brochure, so you can download the brochure. All right, if I click on this, it takes me into, okay, I think it's just, I'm having some network challenges in here. All right, I'm having some network challenges, but you can download the brochure from the website, read the description, what you're going to learn, the breakdown, Excel, Power BI, SQL, ChatGPT for analytics, project initiation, agile essentials, software development lifecycle, and you have your amazing facilitators. Okay, and that's how you get to learn with us. All right, we're going to call it a day. And if you have questions, always feel free to send us a DM, send us an email on enquiries@analytics.io, or send us a message to any of these numbers, and my colleagues would respond to you. All right, you can send us an email to enquiries@analytics.io. Send us a WhatsApp to any of these numbers, and we will engage you to help answer any questions that you have. When we hold sessions like this and you spend time with us, we always like to say thank you for spending your evening with us, and I hope you got value for the time you spent with us today. So thank you very much, guys. Have an amazing, amazing week ahead of you. And I look forward to seeing you in class starting on the 3rd of February. And for those who would want to defer to the 2nd of March, I would love to see you in class as well. Yes, get your journey started. That's the most important thing. 2024 must be different from 2023. You must make that change and make the difference for it to happen. All right. Cheers, everybody, and have an amazing week ahead of you.